Welcome to today's webinar. All right, so it's 12:01. Time for us to get started. I might introduce myself very quickly. So my name is Jordan Gesundheit. It doesn't fit on the screen, so that's why I'm Jordan G for today, the General Manager at Snaps and Solve. I'll be leading the webinar to talk about what really speeds up request resolution. So the agenda for today, we're going to be talking very quickly about what makes a high quality report that speeds up resolution. We're then going to have our friends from City of Darwin join us to talk about their transformation journey. Really excited to have Bern and Keith with us today. And then if we have time at the end, I'll talk about some actionable tips to help improve report quality, whether or not you're using Snaps and Sol. So if we have time, I'll go through it. And if not, we'll be following up with it via email anyway. So if you do need to drop, or in case you miss anything, we will be following up with a recording of the webinar as well. So don't worry too much, but you should stick around so you can meet Keith and Bern from City of Darwin and ask them any questions that you have on your mind. And before we get started, we're going to do a quick poll, just mainly to test that this works. So do tell us, how do you like to start your day? Do you start with tea, with coffee, or with spring water from a fresh mountain stream? And I need to, is this live? So tell me if you can vote or can't vote. Aha, the results are coming in very quickly. All right, seems like coffee took off early. This is the clear winner. For those of you that start the day with spring water from a mountain stream, I'm very jealous of where you might be in the world. All right, I've already had my coffee, so I'm feeling very good. Okay, seems to be working very well. Shall we get stuck into it? Yes. Cool. So before I jump in case you don't know who we are Snaps and Solve, and we're in the business of helping keep shared spaces safe, clean, and great to be in via our app that's free for the community to download and use. So we've been around for over a decade. We have a Snapper community of over 800,000 people and have sent over 5 million snaps across Australia and New Zealand to our network of responsive solvers, which are most of the people who are on this webinar today. So we aim to provide the most accurate and actionable reports to solvers like you to help improve shared spaces. So let's get into our content for today. So we're going to be talking about how high quality reports speed up request resolution. And we're going to start with understanding the context of how and when people report an issue that they might see, which then leads into the elements of what make a high quality report. So let's get stuck into it. So the first thing to understand is that people report issues very differently to how they engage councils for other services. So as you all know, working in councils, they're incredibly complex organizations that provide hundreds of services to the community. And I think sometimes, especially because I've spent a long time working with council, we forget that the normal person only interacts with a council maybe a handful of times a year. And so knowing how complex it is from the inside, imagine how it is for people who are on the outside. So many councils on their websites, they have a button that says pay, apply, report. So most of these requests are handled by the same system. And the challenge is that these services aren't approached in the same way by someone in the community. And let me kind of go into a bit more about how they're fundamentally different. So usually when people are making some kind of payment or they're applying for something, a building permit, they're registering a pet, they're going through one of these services on a council website. There's a few kind of things that make that request unique. So first of all, it's high commitment. So the customer has a high motivation to see it through. So if you're renovating your house and you need to get a building permit, you're building a new structure, you're registering your pet, you're invested in seeing that through. The second thing is that usually you're serving residents and customers. So you're linking that transaction to a customer profile. And so that could be a ratepayer, it could be a business owner, but usually you know who that person is and you have some kind of relationship with them. And last but not least, the process is highly structured and known. So people usually approach these processes as an administrative task, knowing that they need to go through council to get this thing done. And they have some understanding of the information that they'll need to provide to get it done, and they can learn about it as they go through that process. But they really approach it as that administrative task where they're going to sit down, could do it on their phone, but most likely they're going to be sitting down at a computer or some device to get this done. On the other side, reporting an issue is quite different. So first and foremost, it's low commitment in the sense that the person reporting it, and we put out a survey that got a response from around 13,000 snappers, but most people said that they do it to help improve their community. So if they're out and about and they're reporting something to do some good for the community, as soon as they hit some friction in that process, they're likely to drop off and not submit the request or the report. The other thing is that it could be anyone who is in the area. So they may not be local to the area, they may not be local to the state, they may not even be local to the country, and they just see something that is an issue and they want to report it and make sure that it gets fixed. Last but not least, they do it spontaneously while they're mobile. So the data from our app tells us that 70% of reports are sent from a photo taken in the app, which tells us that they're actually standing in front of the issue when they decide to report it. And so they're not approaching it as that administrative task. They're not sitting down with all of the information that they need to get this thing done. They may not even know what council area they're in. They may not know where they are if they're asked for an address or a location. And so how does this kind of manifest, or what does this look like for someone who's out in the community? Well, if they want to report something that they see at a local park, they first need to find out who's responsible for fixing it. They're going to go on Google and try and find that. They're going to find the right council. And again, they may not even know what council area they're in. Hopefully they can find the authority that's responsible and then work through that kind of process to find the system that's going to accept that report. And most of the time, that process starts with asking them where they are, what the address is. And if you're in a park in a council that you don't spend any time in, you may not have that information. And of course, with Snap Send Solve, you can essentially load up the app and you can take a photo and report an issue regardless of where you are across Australia and New Zealand. And that interaction can take less than 30 seconds, and you don't even need to know who the appropriate authority is. And the other thing to note is that that process is exactly the same regardless of where you are. And we know that people are always moving across different kind of council or authority boundaries in their day-to-day life. And as much as councils can invest and improve the customer experience and journey across these services, someone is going to be subjected to a different journey for the same service if they're trying to do the same thing in different council areas. So now that we kind of understand how people report issues and how that's different to the other service requests that they may engage council for, what are the elements of a request that make it high quality and help to speed up resolution? So first of all is a photo. So there's that saying that a photo says 1,000 words. So with the right photo or with multiple photos, a council can send the right team with the right gear at the right time to resolve an issue. And so we have examples. I've heard of customers who have saved 10% in their operational budget when it comes to the amount of trucks or crews that they're sending out just to inspect issues, because they have those accurate photos. And across our platform for reports sent to councils across Australia and New Zealand, there's an average of a 94% photo attach rate. And so here are some examples of where that really makes a difference. So there's this fallen branch here that seems to be maybe a medium or small size branch, I would call it, but contained within the tree, as opposed to a branch that's fallen down and obstructing a road that may need a different crew with different gear and have a different priority. In terms of a water leak, you can see there's kind of this slower looking leak in a grassy area, as opposed to a jet of water shooting out into a public space, which again might need different equipment and a different priority. And here we have a vandalized bus stop with some graffiti that definitely needs to be cleaned up, And then we have another vandalized bus stop where there's shattered glass all over the ground. And again, requiring different equipment, different crews, and have different priorities. The other thing that's essential is the pinpoint location of the issue. And this is even better if you don't have to ask the person filling out the report where they might be. So in SnapSense Solve, for instance, we take the location of the report from the metadata of the photo over 80% of the time. So we're not even asking the person where they are. We're just using the location of the photo, which is right where the issue is the vast majority of the time. And the other element that's really important is getting data so that you can use that data to iterate and improve your services, use that feedback to make sure that you're continually improving and being able to plan for the future as well. So for example, if you could plot out a heat map of dumped rubbish across your council area, that may tell you where the hot spots are, where you can execute a comms campaign to remind people of the penalties of dumping rubbish or whatever it might be to try and prevent and deter that from happening, and ideally make your shared spaces even cleaner and better. Within the SnapSense Solve system across our platform, an average of 15% of snaps that have been sent to council have been rated in some way through our 5-star rating system or with some verbatim feedback. And so that can help you to understand the quality of the services that you're providing and customer sentiment and continue to improve and make that better. So as a summary, what are the things that really speed up request resolution? Number one is a fit for purpose reporting method and understanding that people are usually out and about, they're usually on their phone, and giving them a quick and easy way to be able to report those issues accurately. Ideally, you have photos attached to help understand the issue, a precise and accurate location. Again, if you can do it without asking someone to put in the address, that works even better. And last but not least, using real-time and actionable data to be able to iterate and improve. So before I bring on our friends from Darwin, I'm going to run another poll that seemed very well last time. So which of these that I discussed do you think is the most important for quality reports? Well, we've got how many results? We've had almost 50 people vote. Seems to be a more even split than the coffee question, but precise and accurate location seems to be the leader here, with photos a close second. That's interesting. I think it makes sense that if you know exactly where the issue is, then you can go and at least inspect it and check it out. And then photos, of course, make it easier as well as a close second. All right, that's 80 out of 80 votes. Thanks so much. Let me take this off. And all right, we're about to welcome our guest from City of Darwin. So we've allowed some time for Q&A at the end if you'd like to ask any questions. So what you can do is, as the session is going on, if any questions come up, you can put them in the chat, and the team here will essentially set them aside so that we can then kind of come back to Keith and Bern, and we can come back to them and ask them those questions for you. So give me 1 second, and I will let our friends Keith and Bern in to quickly introduce themselves. Hello, Keith and Bern, are you there?
Yes. Hey, Jordan, how are you?
Hi, Jordan.
Doing well, thank you. Did you want to quickly introduce yourselves?
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us today. I'm Keith Winnell, the Manager of Digital Innovation and Records at City of Darwin, and I'm joined by my colleague, Bern Howson, our Supervisor of Records Management. Today, we're excited to share our journey from basics to better, and how we've transformed fault reporting at City of Darwin using SnapSense Solve, and how this has supported our teams and our strategic goals, and most importantly, our community.
Awesome, thanks for that. Just so you know, we've got over 100 people, so I don't mean to make you nervous, but this might actually be the hottest local government webinar happening in Australia today, just so you know. All right. So I'm keen for us to chat about what your digital transformation journey has been and how it's helped to support council's strategic goals.
Yeah, it's a good question. Our journey started by recognising the needs to improve how faults were reported at the City of Darwin and to make the process more accessible, consistent and responsive. Historically, City of Darwin used a combination of tools and channels for reporting issues, including an app, Darwin Click and Fix, various web forms and direct phone calls and emails, which I'm sure a lot of people are already doing. While these options served a purpose, they created inconsistencies in the quality of the information received, duplicating efforts, placing a burden on staff to manually triage and assign tasks. It also meant that customers had different experiences depending on how they chose to report a fault. So we looked to introduce SnapSend Solve to bring everything into one mobile-friendly platform that helps us work smarter, not harder, not only for our community, but for our staff. Before launching SnapSend Solve, we focused on setting up the right foundation. We started internal procedures to align with a more digital mobile-first workflow. We developed and customized incident types with alerts, questions, and required fields. So this gave us the ability to get the right information from the start. We communicated clearly to the existing users and the elected members and promoted the new process through our website, social media, and forums. After the launch, we expanded the system by looking at our external contractors. These were basically street lights and wheelie bins, so we basically got the reports directly to them, which reduced internal handling. The biggest shift was how this supported our strategic goals, especially a safe and livable and healthy city, smart and prosperous city, and a customer first strategy. These are some of the key strategies that the City of Darwin are living by today. As you may know, being a solver yourself, everyone out there, is that SnapSend Solve gives residents or constituents an easy way to raise concerns, whether it's damaged infrastructure, illegal dumping, or just safety issues. It gives us a clean, actionable data to respond more quickly. By making this change, it has made City of Darwin more responsive and has empowered the community.
It's great. So it sounds like you've spent a lot of time kind of understanding your needs and planning as well as the execution piece. Would you say you kind of spent more time and effort in the planning phase than the rollout phase? Was it about equal? What would you say?
Look, the planning was really, really important. And what I will do is I'll give Bern the opportunity to answer this question, because Bern was very instrumental in a lot of this background to get the information right. So Bern, let them know.
Planning is your main one. You've got to plan and you've got to have plenty of time. Don't leave it to the last minute, and make your communication. Talk to the people that will be involved, have meetings with them, and sort of set them up. We set all our incident categories up with the help of them. So that's what made it work better.
Yeah, and if you were to go back, say 12 months, 18 months, and talk to a younger version of Bern and Keith, would there be any advice that you give, or is there anything that you'd do differently?
Well, looking back, we understood the challenges, we understood, but we've come a long way. And the things that we put in place, we would do again, because we knew the importance of getting it right the first time. Having all these different methods of reporting that required their own way of either engaging with them or updating them or keeping them relevant, just knowing that we dove deep into each of the different channels, and we saw that they needed to be all improved. And at that same time, essentially just doing a job of refining them, asking those questions. You know, when we saw the capabilities of Snap Send Solve and the standard incident types that were there, the opportunity to add additional questions and provide the alerts or information pop-ups just gave us a way to really refine and get that accurate information that we need right up front. So look, planning, as Bern said, so important up front, and know your process, know the teams involved, and step in the shoes of the reporter.
Yeah, it really sounds like you had to bring, you know, a lot of different stakeholders in the organization kind of on a journey, and yeah, really understand and revisit some of the kind of assumptions that you had with some of your previous kind of processes. So cool. Thank you for sharing. And leads us on to our next question. I spend a lot of time talking about kind of accurate reports and high quality reports. And so I'm keen to hear from both of you firsthand, kind of what do you think makes an accurate or high quality report, and how has this helped with your first point resolution?
Good morning and afternoon, everybody, wherever you are in Australia. An accurate report gives us everything we need to be efficient, without needing to chase more info from our snappers or to send someone to investigate it. The key things we look for is location accuracy, a clear description, and a photo that shows the issue and the context. We built tailored questions into each incident type to help guide the person reporting. For an example, for legal parking, we ask the questions of, we need the registration of the vehicle, whether it's causing an obstruction, and a description of the issue. Was it parked in a no stopping zone? Is it blocking a driveway? Or is it overstaying a time limit? And a photo is very helpful. These extra prompts means the report lands in our system with all the information our team needs, and it's helped reduce delays, and we've seen a significant improvement in first point resolution. Internally, we have aligned reports with our task management system to ensure audit trails and task assignments are properly tracked. This allows the team to focus on action rather than admin. Furthermore, one of the unique aspects of our approach in Darwin is that the Northern Territory Government and the City of Darwin share the same municipality. This can make things confusing for the public because some roads are owned by NTG and some roads are owned by us. But with Snap Send Solve, we're able to quickly identify and reassign reports when someone falls under NTG's responsibility instead of the council. To support this, we developed smart email templates with pre-filled content that ensures the relevant NTG contact receives all the necessary information. It's a small detail that has a big impact, helping ensure residents don't have to report things twice and issues are resolved by the right authority the first time.
That's great. And you kind of mentioned that these reports kind of enable the operational teams. And I think we've talked a lot about kind of how customer service receive these requests and that customer service interaction. Have you had any either feedback from the operational teams or any examples of how this has kind of helped them and worked really well for them?
Yeah, we have, because we sat down and talked to them and got all the questions right, put all the right alerts on and everything, and it really has helped them. And also when they're getting reports now, they're accurate. They don't have to go out and try and find where the problem is. The problem has been identified. So yes, they are very happy.
Awesome, thank you. And it sounds like you've kind of taken on this mammoth amount of work, and unfortunately it's not time to crack the champagne and relax. I think it's time to think about what the next thing is and the next kind of hurdle for you to jump or mountain for you to scale. So I'd love to hear from you on what your priorities are moving forward.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. I was just reflecting, actually, when you're asking this question, is, we've been on the journey for fault reporting for a very long time, and Bern can attest to this. And there's a bit of an excitement in two minds, is now that we have everything in a single platform, which is one of the major things, and checking the data every month or throughout the month, just seeing the number of reports continue to grow, and blowing the numbers away month on month. Now, I reflect on that in two ways. Is it good that we're getting lots of reports, or is it good that we're getting good use out of the system? That the system has taken off really well. So I think that's a real big sort of takeaway about how we look towards the future, is that the decisions that we've made appear to be right, and the information that we're getting and continuous improvement of refining has enabled us to do better. So look, we're really focusing and refining the experience, both for the community and the teams. And our current and future priorities include continuous education. Like, it's really, really important. When we started to really promote the new way of working, it's a new way. It's new for staff, it's new for the teams, and it's new for the community. And those residents that like to do it a certain way, they needed to be brought along on the journey. So continuous education, and working closely with the marketing team, they are putting out regular social media posts about the things that we're doing, the before and afters, and how to use, and all those sort of great things. We are rolling out some QR code stickers on our public assets. This will let people report faults straight away from the location with a single scan. And the feedback from staff has been very positive. They're like, great, I'm going to go and put it out onto the public toilets, or into the parks, or into the playgrounds, or into this new space. And it really, again, drives a consistent message to how to report. As we continue to receive reports that may fall into the other requests general bucket, it enables us to continue to update the incident types, add alerts and the workflows to ensure clarity and accuracy of the reporting. So, we are looking at the data, we're looking at the information we're getting, and not just accepting that, okay, that's the report, let's put it in. It's like, how did that report get into this particular channel, and what was why did they select this particular incident type? Instead of the one that we thought that we'd already set up, straight away. So it allows us to remove some of that ambiguity in the incident types. And coming soon, we'll be looking at reporting quarterly back to council and elected members to help inform them on what is happening in the community. So it's going to be another metric that they're going to be looking upon. For us, it's all about improving visibility, building trust with the community, and streamlining how we maintain the city, which ties directly into the vision of being a safe, livable, and healthy city. So those are the key things that we're really looking forward to us.
Yeah, and I speak to a lot of councils that, whether through Snaps and Solve or through other channels, they're always kind of talking and seeking to close the loop with customers. And I know that it's been the same with you. So can you talk a bit about kind of where you're at on that journey with closing the loop? And again, if there's any kind of improvements or examples that you've seen where that's been really, really beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let Bern talk about that. She's in the engine room when it comes to making sure that those reports the loop is closed. And it's one of the learnings too. Well, Bern.
It's improved since we started. You could see that it's improved immensely. A lot of people now are just putting in a report. So it's reduced our emails. So where people before would email us to tell us of a maintenance issue, that has significantly reduced. and now they're going to SSS Snap Send Solve. So that's made a big improvement in our area, so we can just concentrate on that way as well. So that was one of the customers, and also we write back to the customers too. We message them to advise them that in future to use this particular incident type for future reference and that, because and a lot of them have replied and said thank you and have gone on to use it in the future. So it's communication is the key. You've got to communicate with them as well. So yes.
Yeah, I'll add to that, Jordan, if that's okay. The closing of a loop was a key component to, before it was a one-way direction. And now on a regular basis, going and checking on those incidents and are they closed, are they in progress, and making those updates in the system, providing feedback, because those people that already know the Snap Send Solve process is the first point of contact that a person sees is they see that it's been viewed. Then they will see that that either is going to be an in progress or a reference number added and potentially some other correspondence. The next time that they get to see it is essentially when we've solved it, and being able to send that back and giving them an update of exactly what was done and when it was done, and encouraging them to provide us feedback and rating us. And more importantly, one thing that's been really, really important for us is that after photo. You know, like if they have the opportunity to go back to the place, because a lot of the feedback we get from the rating system is I saw it myself. You know, I saw the change happen myself. So obviously being able to see it, if they snap it with a new photo and they upload it, we've got some great before and afters, and that then just goes towards communicating that through social media to show the before and after of the work that we've done, and not to show off that we've done the work, but that the way that it was before and the way that it is now, there's a significant difference, and it works out really well for those incident types that were creating a problem for the community.
Cool. Thank you both so much. This has been very insightful for me. I know we did a practice run, but even the second time, it's very insightful, and I hope so for our audience as well. So what I might do is, before we're going to go into Q&A, and there are a few questions that have come through, I'm going to do another poll really quickly, throw to our audience and ask, which part of this presentation did you enjoy most or was most useful to you, had the most takeaways? I think it's just helpful for us to get some real-time feedback. So yeah, jump into the poll, pop in your answer. I mean, if it was, I think you can only vote for one. I should have put an option in there to say it was all good. We really loved it all, but for now, we'll give people the choice and we'll see. Here we go. It's ticking up, 40 votes, almost 50. There you go. My prediction was actually the transformation journey, because usually when I've done events with people from different councils all coming together, they love to hear, you know, what other councils are up to and what's worked. And I've had lots of people actually tell me, we want to hear examples of where they've tried something and it hasn't worked, and we just want to know and learn from other people's stories. But it looks like far and away how accurate reports have helped your customer service team and operational teams be able to resolve issues first time is the most popular part of the talk. So very good. All right, so let me change my slide over here to the Q&A. Put your lovely faces up here and give me one tick. I saw some good questions come through. So let's start with, I like this question, usually comes up in these types of forums. So Lisa has asked, how did you tackle your team's resistance, and in the context of kind of the volume of reports? So if you're going up, this is the full question. So people might assume, especially in the operational teams, that if we roll out something like Snap Send Solve, we're going to get heaps of reports, and our workload is just going to go up double, triple, 10 times. So yeah, tell us a bit about, was there a conversation like that within City of Darwin, and how did you kind of approach it?
Thank you, Lisa, for your question. It's an interesting question because the work is already out there. It's just the channel of approach was refined. So for us, we had a unique opportunity that Bern's team triaged everything that came into our darwin@darwin.nt.gov.au email address, which means that the triaging all happens by a single team. So the benefits of SnapSend Solve for us was upfront and enabled us to really grab everything in one place consistently and having control of it all in a single team. So myself leading it with Bern, we could refine on a dime. We could basically just get in there and make changes as we needed to. And as we you know, when you're on the digital transformation journey, the week of launch, you're in hypercare mode, which means that everything is an opportunity, and anything that goes wrong means that you can get onto it immediately. So during that hypercare, we were always on top of things, fixing up things that were potentially going the wrong place. But going back to your question with regards to workloads, it essentially reduced the workload on, apologies for that, workload on the records management team, and reduced the workloads because of the information that they were able to task to the operations team.
Yeah, I think your phone ringing there just proves that your work never stops. So I think we know how hard you both work.
Apologies for that up front.
No,
I wasn't expecting a phone call.
that's no, it's totally fine. But I think what you said, you know, it makes a lot of sense. The issues are out there, and there are things that need to be fixed and addressed. And just because council hasn't heard about it yet, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not there. And I think the other thing that's important to note as well is that when community report these things, they're not, I think they hope that it gets solved straight away, but that's not necessarily what they're seeking. They're just seeking to know that they've been heard, that there is some process, that it is going to be addressed, or that, you know, there's something that's going to happen as well. So I think it's not necessarily about accepting these requests and then putting them straight as jobs or work orders to your team. It's about being able to let the customer know, set some expectations, and then manage that workload internally. And of course, within the constraints and the resources that you have, because I don't think I haven't spoken to one council yet that's told me that, oh, there's just people sitting around and they've got so many resources and they're so glad that they're so overstaffed and so underworked. You know, I definitely hear the opposite. So,
I mean, from day one of setting it up, before we launched publicly, we took advantage of the features to refine the internal processes. So when we were getting them organically, we had to log into the platform, and it was like a one-way thing. We couldn't do really anything with it. And we had to download the photos and then put them into our records management system. But now we've got those plain emails, which has everything attached all in one place, giving us the link directly to the report, has the photos attached. So we can just drag and drop that straight into the records management, task management, and assign the task immediately. And then it's just putting the reference number of that assignment straight into the platform, which means that we've streamlined every interaction from its initial capture.
Awesome. So on to our next question. So we have James, who has asked, it sounds like you've removed other options available for customers to report issues, for example, your website, and now solely use SnapSend Solve, or do you have other channels available? So I think he's keen to know what channels you still have available to report issues and how you're accepting them across website and maybe other places. So.
We didn't essentially remove anything. Those existing channels are still there. So the use of the app at a mobile space, we embedded the form on our website. So our website had 46 different forms, And each of those forms were just slightly the same thing. I think about 70% of them were most of the same. So if you had a drop down, you could essentially use the same thing, but we had 46 different forms. So to remove that page of all the forms to find out where you needed to go, essentially the incident types, we dropped in on a single page the web form for Snap Send Solve, giving the user the exact same experience as if they had it on their mobile phone. So it means that if they don't have the app and don't have an account, they can still do it on the website. They can still call in and they can still email us in directly, and we have the same systems that manage that because it all comes into one place. You know, if we talk about some of the future opportunities, is if we enable people who call into us to be aware of the use of our web form or the app, and or the customer service officer says, oh, I'll just take all your information and just fill out the information on our website and submit it on their behalf, the reporter just has to verify the email and it just hits our system the same as it does the other way. So there's opportunities there to streamline customer service calls in and emails to just push it back to Snap Send Solve's platform. I mean, and future opportunities are also included with direct integration into CRMSs or task management systems straight into the platform, allowing us to streamline some of that, but we've got teams to be able to manage it. Hopefully that answered the question, James.
Thank you. So we've got a few more questions. We've only got really time for one more. So we'll some of the questions that haven't been answered, to those of you who are out there, either if they're questions that we can answer, then we will. But otherwise, Keith and Bern have generously offered their contact details, which we'll follow up with. And so if you have questions directly for them, you're able to send them through. So the last question is actually, it's for you, Bern. And so Kylie is interested to know how you're managing contacting customers and closing the loop. Is it your customer service team? Do you have one person who's in charge of all of it? How are you managing the workflows? I think Kylie is very keen to know all of your secrets and all of your tricks and how you're managing closing the loop.
Thank you, Kylie. No, it's the records management team that does the whole lot. So we close them as well and then run reports. As for, I don't have one person in charge. I have a team of 3, so they're all on a roster. So they go on a roster to perform these tasks because we try and do it weekly because of the volume that we get. And also the reports that we require multiple updates, very hard to manage, but when we do, we let the snapper know that this has been already reported, but we still leave it open. And so when eventually it does get solved, we will then go and solve how many we've received, the 3, the 4, the 5, or whatever, because then if you solve it and leave one open, people get confused and think, oh yes, they've solved it and the job's done, but it's not. So we leave them open until it's actually been solved, and then we close all of them. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Ben. I think, yeah, it's very important to be able to close the loop. And I think, as we've been saying, the higher quality the reports are and the more accurate the information is, the less back and forth there is. Of course, you need to close the loop and make sure that you let them know when the job's been done. But I think it can be more complicated if you need to ask for more information, or get a more accurate location or get a photo, whatever it might be. So hopefully with the quality of reports that you're getting, it's making your team's job a bit easier there. So
yeah.
Cool. Thank you for that. So I'm just going to hand it back to you, Bern and Keith, to sign us off, sign yourselves off.
Okay. Thank you for having us today. Snap Send Solve has helped us deliver a simpler, smarter process for everyone. It's not just about receiving reports, it's about empowering the community, improving our response times, and aligning with our strategic priorities. We've come a long way from the basics, and it's excited to keep improving and evolving the way City of Darwin connects with the people it serves. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So if anyone has any questions, feel free. This is my email up there as well. But as I mentioned, Bern and Keith have passed on their contact details, which we'll send through via a follow-up email. So you're more than welcome to reach out to them directly. And so, yeah, I might end it here and just say thanks once again for Keith and Bern, and to everyone who's spent time in their busy day to join us. So
Thank you.
thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.